The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
I like him or not, Donald Trump is an unabashed believer in Donald Trump's ability to bring prosperity back to America. Trump embraced his wealth rather than run from it, boasting a net worth near $9 billion. So let's dig into what Donald had to say on policy, and we're going to start right here at home. Here's what Donald Trump said he could offer the American people.
I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created. I tell you that. I'll bring back our jobs from China, from Mexico, from Japan, from so many places. I'll bring back our jobs, and I'll bring back our money.
On foreign policy, Trump has some interesting ideas that just might resonate with some conservatives.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. I would build a great wall, and nobody builds walls better than me, believe me. And I will have Mexico pay for that wall. When was the last time anybody saw us beating, let's say, China in a trade deal? They kill us. I beat China all the time. All the time. When did we beat Japan at anything? They send their cars over by the millions. And what do? When was the last time you saw a Chevrolet in Tokyo?
I don't even know where to start. I have pages upon pages. That was like 50 minutes of, it was pretty darn good, KG. At least you saw some fresh ideas.
Yeah, I said it was like the Lego movie, the theme song, everything is awesome. It really got me excited. I felt richer just listening to him, that there's going to be economic prosperity. I like his business approach. He clearly loves America. I mean, I thought this was a great speech. That's what I love about this country. You can have people like this, success story, and now he's putting, his hat in. Let's see. I don't know. I think it's going to be fun.
Greg, he said he was going to be the greatest jobs president that God ever created.
Well, he's probably created more jobs than most small countries just by the building in New York. What I find interesting about what happened today is the reaction on Twitter and the reaction among the media. A lot of people in the media laugh at Donald Trump. These are the same people who believe Bernie Sanders is relevant. And Sanders champions an ideology that contributed to the deaths of millions of people in the last century. They find somehow, which is weird to me, they find an ideology that is deadly to be romantic. And this is the modern disease. They champion subversion, but they demonize and they mock industry. It's a it is bizarre to me. It's sad. Because we do make fun of Donald Trump, even though the interesting thing about this is whenever he was talking about issues, he would follow it up with something that he did. Like, I made a website. I made deals. I built a company. He keeps saying, I did this, I did this, I did this. And the reason why that's so weird is because none of the other candidates are saying that because they didn't do it. So it's funny because it's true. It's funny because he builds things.
And then he was not afraid to take shots at other countries. He took shots at China. He certainly took shots at Mexico. You heard the comment about they send us not their best. But he said, I'm going to build a wall on our southern border. I know how to build walls. And then he said, and they're going to pay for it.
Right. On what planet is that actually true? Eric, do you think that you can make Mexico pay for a permanent wall between Mexico and the United States? You could do that.
I think that Donald Trump, there's no question you can build a wall.
You're going to build a wall, and you're going to make Mexico pay for it.
I'm not the
On
president.
what planet could that actually happen?
Well, I think it could happen. You can't.
That could happen.
Trump.
You could actually do that. You could make a wall and have another country pay for it.
Well. Yes, you can, but here's the problem.
Okay,
you do it
how?
Well, one of the ways you do it is you tax them. You
tax Mexico? The President of the United States is going to tax Mexico to build a wall for the United States of America? I mean, this is I'm pointing out the absurdity of a lot of these comments. I get it that he's entertaining. I know that he loves America. I know he's done a lot of great things. He also has done things without ever having to work with 535 members of Congress who actually control the purse strings in America. When you're the President of the United States, you have no money unless the Congress says, here's what you can spend it on. So you certainly don't have Mexico's money to make them pay for a wall between the two countries.
You do it through trade restrictions. You may not like trade restrictions.
And who's going to put those trade restrictions on? Congress has to actually pass the trade restrictions. We saw last week that is not happening with this Congress. The realities are you can be entertaining and you can be fun. And you could say things that actually appeal to people, and you still have to figure out a way to get to 270 electoral votes. You have to figure out a way to get from Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina.
Well, executive action precedent has been.
I'll give you this. Even President Obama has not suggested he could get another country to pay for building a wall between Mexico and the United States.
No, but he's too busy apologizing for America all the time to stick it to anybody. That's the problem.
You know, there's another way of doing this. Listen, Mexico, you're our number one, besides our own pumping of our oil, you're our number one importer of oil. We take more oil from Mexico than any other country, including Canada. We can say, hey, you know what, Mexico? We'll do it all with Canada unless you want to pay for that wall. There's a way to do it.
And you in the energy business, you think that's possible?
I think
in a world market.
How's this, Dana? Here's what I think. I think Donald Trump, you may not like a lot of things that Donald Trump said today, but for once we heard something different. We heard a guy.
You heard something different that's totally not plausible.
Why?
You just admitted that everything that he said is not plausible.
Well, how did I admit that? Where in the world did I admit that?
You think it's possible for us to say we're not going to take any more Mexico oil? You're going to actually cut it off? In the world market, you would say that?
Here's what we'll do, Mexico. We're going to cut the price we pay for your oil by $2 a barrel for the next 5 years until we pay for this wall. And they can say either, screw you, United States, or we'll try and sell it somewhere else.
You know what they'll do? They'll sell it to China. And then guess who wins?
So. Okay, wait, listen, I'm not, look, all I'm simply saying is there are ideas here that we haven't heard before. And for once, it's refreshing to me to hear something different.
You should be saying that with Rand Paul around, Eric. He's going to be very upset with you.
What are you talking about? Rand Paul has a lot of the ideas that some of the other candidates do.
I want to make sure you remember Rand Paul.
I don't. Why does it feel like I'm Donald Trump getting the heat here today? Juan, take a listen to this. The thought of Donald Trump on the debate stage has to scare some GOP contenders. The man can talk, and he made it clear he's going to go after frontrunners Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio. Watch.
Some of the candidates, they went in, they didn't know the air conditioner didn't work. They sweated like dogs. They didn't know the room was too big because they didn't have anybody there. How are they going to beat ISIS? I looked at Bush. It took him 5 days to answer the question on Iraq. He couldn't answer the question. He didn't know. I said, is he intelligent? Then I looked at Rubio. He was unable to answer the question. Is Iraq a good thing or a bad thing? How are these people going to lead us?
And he also went on to say, how can anyone vote for these guys? So go ahead, Juan. Your thoughts on Donald Trump taking shots at Jeb and Rubio?
This is the candidate from Mad Magazine. This is like Alfred E. Newman jumping and saying, I'm running for president, and Republicans getting excited. I don't understand it. This is the ruination of the Republican Party. This is a guy who at one point was pro-choice. Now he says he's pro-life.
Oh,
this
please.
is a... That's what
everybody flips on issues.
Well, let me tell you, he keeps flipping. That comment about the people from Mexico, remember he said we shouldn't take any people from Mexico. We should only take European immigrants. And then he says he has a secret plan to defeat ISIS. He won't say what it is, but he'll say it'll wipe out ISIS in an instant. So, I mean, basically, if you're running to be the head of the clown car, if you're running to say, oh, you know what, I'm going to please Republicans because I'll say outrageous things. I'll demand Obama's birth certificate. What a ridiculous waste of Republican energy.
Out something very important, though. On a debate stage with 10 people up there.
Yeah, he'll bully and he'll boast. I'm the most successful person ever to run for president. Forget about Thomas Jefferson. So what about that George Washington and his victories?
So as one of the other candidates, specifically Jeb Bush, he's going to take some shots. He's going to take some. They're going to end up going head-to-head on the debate stage. I got to think Jeb's not looking forward to it.
I got to ask you something. What's everyone so afraid of?
A comedy show for the Republican?
I don't think it's a comedy show. I think there's a lot of important issues that need to be discussed.
The intelligence of Republican voters and have no chance. Let me just say, isn't it like 60% of Republicans say they couldn't vote for him?
Yes. That is the number. It's 59%. He has the highest negatives of any Republican presidential candidate in the history. Also, the other thing is,
but negatives
I just did a check. I mean, there is
you are name recognition.
When people talk about Ben Carson, like, well, don't you think Ben Carson could be president? Look, his path is very difficult. There, only 6 presidents. I have a list here of 6 presidents in our country's history actually have never previously held elected office. Most of them actually have to be, paintings because there weren't cameras back then, and we don't include Georgia. Yeah, no selfies. I mean, it is a leap to get there because of the path that I've been talking about. You have to get to 270 electoral votes. You might be able to win popularity, but that's like cotton candy. It melts on contact. if you aren't going to be willing to go shake the hands in Iowa to figure out how to win New Hampshire or even be in South Carolina, you are not going to win the path to the presidency. It's just reality.
You want to weigh in on this one?
Well, yeah, you know what about the debates, there is some advantage that Trump will have. Because when he gets up there and there's a dozen people, he immediately makes Santorum and Rand look like apprentices. He's going to be Donald Trump up there, and those guys are all going to be like sitting there go, oh, there's Trump, and they're going to fall into this kind of thing that America is used to, which is Donald Trump looking at them and he goes, that's not going to work. That's not going to work, Rand, you're fired. And then everybody's going to laugh, and he's going to get a lot of applause.
The candidate in the race most hurt by Trump entering is, in my estimation, it is Rand Paul. Because Rand Paul is different, unique, has a lot of appeal to across voters, and Donald Trump getting in sucks that energy out of the room.
Do you not think that Donald Trump hurts Carly Fiorina the most because she has the business background?
I think debatable, but
she's also looking for that.
But she's unique in other ways.
Elected office.
She's unique in other ways, and she also has accomplishments in business. I think for Rand Paul, for a unique person that was in the race with crossover appeal, I think that Donald Trump hurts him the most.
There's one more plus I'll throw in for Donald. A lot of the candidates are talking about their rough upbringing. You know, like, oh, I was from this, I was from that. He doesn't. He's the opposite of that. It's like, I'm awesome. Everything he says is, I'm awesome.
Glad you said that. This is a perfect transition to this. A good friend of mine summed up the speech perfectly. Quote, he's an egomaniac.
Yeah.
So full of himself. He's awesome. Listen.
I think I am a nice person. People that know me like me. Does my family like me? I think so, right? I'm using my own money. I'm not using the lobbyists. I'm not using donors. I don't care. I'm really rich. I'm proud of my net worth. I've done an amazing job. I don't have to brag. I don't have to. Believe it or not.
Yeah, this is beyond self-involved and egotism, don't you think? It's an exercise in, like, his ego just on fire.
But wait a second.
And it's entertaining.
But you know what? He never said he was going to stop the rising oceans.
No, but I mean...
Somebody did.
But let me just say...
Somebody did. His name rhymes with Barack Hussein Obama.
Well,
if that's his real name.
If he's really born in the country according to Trump. But I'm saying, this has no connection to reality. That's why I say it's not good for the GOP. I'm kind of amazed that you guys
I think it's refreshing. I'm glad to see someone else step up and say, you know what, screw China. We're going to go after China. I'm not worried about the $1 trillion debt they hold because they need us as much as we need.
I gotta tell you something.
I love his frankness.
You can say what you want. He's made a lot of money. He's created a lot of jobs in this economy. I think you can't fault him on that.
His daddy gave him everything in the world, right?
I'm almost done, Juan. He's not afraid to answer a question. He has ideas. He has passion, enthusiasm. He's not going to be afraid or intimidated to debate people. I want everybody to bring their best, their A game when they're up there on the stage. I want to hear what he has to say. Plenty of people I know were very enthused about what he said, and I bought into Trump building and made money.
Oh, my God.
But it's true. He's got a good plan that builds good buildings.
If you said to me, you know what, Rush Limbaugh should run for president. You know what, Michael Savage should run for president. I'd say, come on, Kimberly, what is this about? Are we running for talk show hosts, conservative, right-wing talk show hosts? Is that what this is about?
No, that was 2012.
He's not a talk show.
Then had Mitt Romney embraced his success and his money the way Donald Trump is doing right now, would things have turned out differently for him?
Probably not.
Why not?
I do not think.
I think this is one of the biggest.
Okay, but you can have that fantasy. It actually is just not reality.
He's always trying to play down his wealth.
Let me give you a couple of positives. I think that "Make Our Country Great Again" is a very good slogan. It's hope and change, but more specific, and it's specifically directed to the last 8 years, perhaps even the last 16 years, is how he's going to look at that. I also think that he is a very nice person. People who know him personally like him very much, but I will also tell you, people say that about Hillary Clinton. One of the things that Democrats will say is that, hope you don't meet her, because guess what? You're going to like her. People that meet him personally, and now if he's willing to go and do the work, and he's going to leave New York City and leave Trump Tower and go to Iowa and shake some hands and in New Hampshire, and if he's actually going to be willing to do that work, he could probably win over some folks.
You know, and he's going to be on the debate stage because of just that.
Name ID.
He came into
Not
the Fox
because he's
building.
shaking hands, it's name ID.
But because he's a nice person and he has name ID. He came into the Fox building the other day and came over to say hello to me. And you know what? The people who work in this building, the people who let us in, the people who clean the building, flock to him.
Yeah. By the way, that's an interesting point. It transcends. There's something about Trump that transcends race. If he walks down the street, it doesn't matter what color the person is. They go, there's Donald, and I want to be him. I want to be as rich as that guy. It doesn't matter if it's a janitor or the doorman.
And not for
Wouldn't it
nothing,
be nice if the whole country...
kids, his family, they love him.
Well,
they do.
that's your easiest
Well, but, I mean,
audience.
you can say that
but I know them all
but what candidate would that not be true?
Plenty of people have issues with their
I mean, every candidate is going to be able to say, my family loves me, I hope.
No, but they really actually do. He's a good dad.
Like, well, which kids in the race don't love their...
I can't
That's a
speak
great
for all
issue,
of
though. Okay,
I know his kids. That's
But
my
the
point.
Dolezals are not running.
They just throw us in here. Barack
Yes.
Obama has always shunned the idea that Americans are exceptional of our wealth. He's always pushed that back. Donald Trump says, we're going to bring back wealth. Look, is there going to be a President Trump?
Well, kind of like,
it's probably not
like
likely.
Reagan.
My wife says it's going to be
American.
Jeb Bush. I get that. But it's nice to see some fresh ideas.
You know what I noticed, though, on his speech? He did ISIS, Obamacare, immigration, Bo Bergdahl. He did the 5 rundown.
All that was left was one more thing.
Yes,
They're yelling at me right now, literally yelling at my I'm sorry, guys. Sorry, Porter. Sorry, Susan.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.